Hi everyone, Sean Waldman with SecureCyber, and this is your weekly cyber update. There's a lot in the cybersecurity news, and we'll get to that in here in just a moment. And then at the end, I'll go into where I've been gone for the last couple of weeks. I've just got back from Japan at a cybersecurity conference in Tokyo and Osaka, and we'll go into that at the end of the program. Right now, Samsung has patched a actively exploited zero-day reported by WhatsApp. If you have an Android device that is running 13 or later, you definitely need to hit the update button and patch that operating system. Samsung patched the remote code execution vulnerability that was exploited in zero-day attacks targeting the Android devices. Samsung had explained in a recent updated advisory that the vulnerability was discovered in basically a closed-sourced image parsing library developed by QuorumSoft that implements support for various image formats. It caused an out-of-bounds write weakness that allowed attackers to execute malicious code on vulnerable devices remotely. Well, none of that's good. So again, if you have Android, keep those devices patched. Same with Apple iOS. Make sure you're staying on top of those vulnerabilities and applying the patches as soon as you can. All right, next up, async rat exploits ConnectWise Screen Connect to steal credentials and crypto. So there's some security researchers out there that had discovered a new campaign that leverages the ConnectWise Screen Connect. Screen Connect is extremely popular. It's a legitimate remote monitoring and management software specifically to do remote control access. The attacker used Screen Connect to gain remote access, then executed a layered VB script and PowerShell loader that fetched and ran components from external URLs. Make sure that you're keeping an eye on your Screen Connect software inside the environment and make sure you're keeping it up to date, and also monitoring ConnectWise as they issue security bulletins about their software. But you can continue to expect to see things like Screen Connect, TeamViewer, AnyConnect is extremely popular to be exploited. So any of these Datto, any of these remote manage and monitoring RMM tools that are out there that are used by managed service providers are going to be very enticing for them to leverage, because they can get access to a mass amount of endpoints and really in one shot. Microsoft September 2025 patch Tuesday fixed 81 flaws and 2 0 days. The number of bugs in each vulnerability, 41 elevation of privilege vulnerabilities, 2 security feature bypasses. I'm not going to go through this entire list, only to say please work through your patching system to make sure that these patches are deployed in a timely manner. If you're doing like monthly or quarterly patching, that's probably not going to be enough. If you say, sorry, that's too risky, that's just a gamble that you're going to have to take. So really leverage your risk management profile to make an intelligent decision on whether you're going to patch devices in a timely manner or if you're going to defer them, because if something does happen and you have to explain yourself, you should have some indication of why you deferred those patches. But just make sure you look at your patching program and get these implemented as soon as possible. This was pretty interesting news. So the Treasury Department announced sanctions for Southeast Asian networks targeting Americans with cyber scams. So this was pretty cool. Today, the department, this was the 8th of September, by the way, the Department of Treasury's Office of Foreign Asset Control, or OFAC, implemented sanctions against a large network of scam centers across Southeast Asia that stole billions of dollars from Americans using forced labor and violence. The action includes 9 targets operating in Burma, a notorious hub for virtual currency investment scams, as well as Karen National Army, as well as 10 targets based in Cambodia. Basically, these entities were using business email compromise and pig butchering, which are a lot of scams against the elderly, in order to effectively leverage almost over $1 billion in money extorted from Americans. So even though we're seeing the sanctions, from a recovery perspective, I don't know how much of that money will actually be recovered. I don't know if any of it will be returned to the Americans that were impacted. But it is good news that the federal government has been able to at least track some of these guys down and hold some of these countries accountable. So just wanted to report that was some progress made as far as like the money being extorted from Americans. All right, so to end things, where have I been? So I left for a couple weeks to Japan in order to attend the CyberTech conference. We started in Osaka and then moved up to Tokyo. Basically, I got an international taste of what is going on from a cyber perspective. I was talking to somebody this morning about why I do these things. Primarily, one, I do it to learn. Number two, I find that a lot of the trends and things that we see coming to the United States often originate in Europe and Asia. So it's been beneficial to visit those countries, attend those conferences. These are primarily international delegations that come, and allows me to basically interact with other countries, learn from them on what they're seeing, how are they combating ransomware. Are we on the same track? Do we have the right tools? Are there more things coming that we don't know about? So it's just my opinion that, you know, if you attend the same U.S. conferences and listen to the same types of topics and U.S. speakers, that you're really limiting yourself to what is going on inside the U.S. I just find that from time to time, getting out and learning what's going on internationally and understanding what other countries are doing and how they're responding. Like, for example, one of the main things that I found, and there was a maritime component attached to the one in Osaka, which was new to me. I don't necessarily have a maritime background. Agriculture is another one of those industries that I'd like to learn a little bit more about from a cyber perspective. But anyway, the maritime folks are definitely looking at GPS spoofing being a big part of the problem. Essentially, since those boats, which are very large and carry a lot of cargo, are mainly driven and steered by GPS, are talking about awareness training being one of the number one things that they're looking at, which was surprising to me. It wasn't an EDR tool or a firewall. It wasn't, any of those types of components. They were just more promoting how we need to get in front of the sea levels. We need to get better training out there. We need to train more and more often. So awareness led almost the entire time I was out there. And then one of the second things, which I found was interesting, was micro-segmentation. So we've talked a lot and promote segmentation, certainly in our company, a lot. Separate VLANs, doing basically a lot of very specific rules inside firewalls to control the communication across VLANs. But as far as they were talking about going almost to the micro level, meaning that maybe you go floor to floor and you have a VLAN for a floor, and then inside the floor is a department, and you're micro segmenting. They found that basically you can't stop ransomware from occurring, and the only answer really is good cyber hygiene, EDR, good backups, and of course making sure that all of that is managed properly. That's not the extent of what you need. I'm just giving it for example. But the microsegmentation is needed in order to basically contain the blast. So just, be not comforted, but just be under the understanding that these types of things will occur. If you don't have the right things aren't set up right, and you don't have the segmentation, essentially you're looking to be a major victim to a ransomware incident. And the only way to actually combat that is through good education, good hygiene, which encompasses a whole other, multitude of topics, good EDR that's properly managed, and then the micro-segmentation piece is really the only way to contain the blast. So that's all we have for this week. Thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you would like to, learn more about what I've done abroad, or have questions on the channel. If you have suggestions for other content that you'd like to see covered, please let us know. I do monitor the comments while I'm out and about, but otherwise, we're entering into a weekend, and hey, let's be careful out there.